Every one of us needs to have kindness experiences every day because we all need to feel love. I am a big kindness advocate because of the fact that the world needs love now more than it's ever needed love. And kindness is love in action. Kindness is love's delivery agent. It's love love brought to life. That's why I work so hard to promote kindness, because heaven knows how many of us every day need to feel love. We all do. That's a basic human need. We need to feel love and we need to give love.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Sparks of Gratitude podcast. I am your host, Randy Sparks, and gratitude can save and change lives. And we have brought the kindness giver, a hero himself with a cape on, Mr. Randy McNeely. Welcome to the conversation.
The nifty kindness superhero shirt on, too.
There you go, the kindness superhero. We need to get a bunch of those shirts and offer them to some people. I bet there'd be a lot of people excited to wear those, this one included. And I just want to thank everybody for joining us today. You could be listening to anything, anywhere, and you chose to listen to this. So sincere thank you. And please tell your friends about it, because we love this program. We love sharing gratitude, kindness, and we hope that you can spread that as well. So let's learn a little bit about Randy McNeely, who I have recently met, interestingly, from Iowa. However, in a conversation we had recently, we realized that both of us actually went to the same high school in Utah. Isn't that a funny story?
Yep.
Yeah, of all things. So Randy, and if you're listening, you can't see this, but anybody that's watching this on YouTube, Randy is wearing a red cape. Tell us about that, Randy.
Well, it's a red cape that goes along with my persona as a kindness superhero. I just recently launched the Kindness Hero Shop, and I put a lot of thought into that. Every one of us has the opportunity every day to step into the shoes of a kindness hero. And it's not hard to do. All we have to do is put up our antennas and be looking for all the random opportunities to be kind that are all around us. They come up, we talk about random acts of kindness. And in reality, every time we do something kind, it's because we choose to do it. But there's random opportunities of kindness all over the place. And every time we do something to be kind and lift somebody else, we increase the sum of happiness in the world. And for me, that's heroic. And that's why I inspire people. I want to inspire people, invite people to step into the shoes of a kindness hero every day. You don't have to run around with a cape on like I've got right now, but somebody out there today needs to receive kindness from you, or maybe you need to receive kindness from someone else. But every time you do that, you're lifting a heart, lifting a soul, and you're painting on somebody's heart. You're helping them to have experiences that will be remembered for a long time every time you're kind.
Well, wonderful words and a wonderful invitation to spread kindness. I need kindness. I know how I feel, and it changes me from the inside out when I receive kindness. And I hope that I can give kindness as well. So that is my intention. That is the ask. That is the takeaway from today, even before we get to the end of this conversation. That is our action item.
Well, I'm going to throw something out there. This is the Sparks of Gratitude podcast, right? And the beautiful thing about kindness, it's a catalyst for gratitude. Kindness is a catalyst for gratitude. It triggers gratitude. If people receive kindness and they appreciate it, they can't help but feel grateful.
I love that. You mentioned that. Well, maybe I should tell everybody in here, we're going to certainly talk about this today, but Randy has written several books. First of all, he's got the best name in the business. That's obvious. But he's written several books, including this one here, The Kindness Giver's Formula. And this is version 2.0, which has got a few updates in it from your original version. But in here, you do say that specifically. You say kindness is the gateway to gratitude. So you just mentioned it a little bit, but talk to me about that a little bit.
Well, you think about it. As I look back over my life and the experiences I've had where people have touched my heart with gratitude, with kindness, I can't help but feel grateful. I grew up in a home that was religious, and yet my father had some real challenges living up to the religion. He wasn't a very kind man. He was very verbally abusive and abusive in other ways. And if it hadn't been for the kindness of friends and people around me who reached out and put their arms around me and lifted me up during some times when my father ended up being prosecuted and sent to prison for some serious mistakes. And, so I think back on those times and my friends who rallied around me, and my heart overflows with gratitude. And that's why, I think that kindness was a gateway. It still is a gateway to my gratitude. I'm getting choked up now just thinking about it, because it creates what I call generational kindness, those experiences. And you could say it creates generational gratitude. I've shared those stories with other people, and they've been touched and their hearts have been reached, and they've felt grateful and thankful that I've shared the stories. I can think of a time during that period of my life, a wonderful friend of mine, Rochelle Knight, and I can't remember her last name now. It's been a long time since I've seen her, but Rochelle, if you're listening to this, I'm talking about you. She was a sweetheart to me. She doesn't remember this, but I do. When I was 14, we were both on the student council at our junior high school, and I was asked to type up an agenda, and I typed it up. I got to class early. I spread the agenda out on all the desks, for the other kids that were going to be coming in for our meeting. And in came Rochelle. She was very pretty. She was a cheerleader. She was a very kind. She's one of the girls that all the guys had a crush on and swooned over when she was around. But she was just a sweetheart. She came in and picked up one of the agendas, and she looked at it and she said, not in an unkind way, just kind of in a matter of fact way. She said, "Oh, did you realize you misspelled the word miscellaneous?" And my response to her tells you how I felt about me at that time. I responded exactly like this: "Oh, I guess you think I'm pretty stupid, huh?" She didn't miss a beat in her response. She says, oh, no, I don't. I think you're pretty neat." Those 9 words, I've never forgotten that statement, Randy. I've never forgotten that. And of course, being the macho teenager I was at the time, there was no way on earth I was going to let her see me cry. So I said, I need to go to the bathroom. I walked out of the room, and then I ran down the hall to the bathroom, locked myself in a stall, and I sat there and cried. Somebody, at a time when I needed to hear it so desperately, somebody thought I was neat. And, in my heart, in my mind, I felt like a light came on. I mean, because it was almost like I could hear somebody saying, "You are pretty neat, Randy. You're a good guy, good man, good young man." And so it's those experiences and many more have opened a gateway of gratitude for me. And I wouldn't be the man I am today without my friends then, and without my wonderful family and so many good people who have just been a real strength to my life.
Wow, that's beautiful. I have some questions about that. So, Randy, you mentioned that how impactful it was when she said that you were neat, and how that made you feel and the emotions that came through you. So I imagine, tell me if I'm wrong, but I imagine you were going through struggles with your father, who was, for whatever reason, had some challenges, maybe wasn't kind, maybe was abusive. Did that affect your confidence and belief in yourself?
It did. It helped me to be able to carry on. It was right at that time when my father was being prosecuted, and I needed to hear that, because, as foolish as it sounds, I blamed myself for my father being in the situation that he was in. Which was absolutely ridiculous, because he made his choices and I didn't have any control over him, and he chose to do some really dumb things. And but at the time, in my head, in my mind, I had it that if I had only done this, or if I had done this or that or something else, I could have prevented this, and we wouldn't be facing this, and I wouldn't be having all the embarrassment, because it was in the newspaper, and it was, in Idaho Falls, it was a small town. There was only like 30,000 people, and all my friends knew what was going on, and I was totally embarrassed. And having Rochelle say what she said was a total lift for me. It picked me up and helped me to think, okay, I can make it through this time. Now, have I been down on myself? Have I struggled with my self-esteem and other things like that since? And of course I have. But at that time in my life, I needed that. And when I need a picker-upper now, I think back on that experience and many others, and I can do what I call mental time travel and go back to those experiences and feel the same, what do you call the dopamine, the oxytocin, the dose of happiness that comes, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. That's, by the way, that's a shout out to you, Jacqueline Way. You're the dose master. Anyway.
Yeah. So Randy, that makes me think of two things when you tell that story, is kind of going back to those moments that you remember of kindness and recalling those to bring back feelings and belief and, those chemicals in your brain and how that refuels you, as well as simply just noticing those moments at the time that they occur. And so tell me about it with this one in particular, but in general, how often do you, or what do you have to say about the idea of when an act of kindness happens, the value of noticing it and paying attention to it in the moment, and then in the future, looking back on it and then framing that as this positive catalyst in your life?
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because you showed my book, The Kindness Giver's Formula, and the last step in that book, is to reflect on and record your kindness experiences. And I think it's important to notice them, those experiences in the moment. But I also think it's very important to take the time when you get home at the end of the day, take just a few minutes to reflect on your day and think of any experiences that you've had with kindness and write them down. It's kind of like a gratitude journal, except for I call it a kindness journal. And the beautiful thing about this, that is a couple of things. One, it ingrains it more fully in your mind when you write it down. It just does. That's just a normal experience for when you write down anything. It helps you to remember that experience better. But two, because you've written it down, you can take the time on what I call our rainy days, which we all have, our days when we feel a little bit down or discouraged, and walk over and pull that journal off the shelf and just start thumbing through and rereading experiences and create those feelings again. And it serves as a reminder that even though, we all go through dark periods or days where life is not as rosy as we'd like it to be, or it's pretty lousy sometimes, that there are days that great things have happened, that those days are not gone. They'll come again, that after the storm comes the rainbow. And, that's the beautiful thing about recording those experiences, because you can pull those experiences up and bring your little rainbows during stormy times.
Yeah, I love that gratitude, kindness, that focusing on those and paying attention to them allows us to see the good even in the challenge. Now, the challenges may not be good. I mean, no doubt the pain, the heartache, the struggle, the lack of self-belief, all the things that you felt during this challenge with your dad.
Yeah.
You still saw kindness.
Oh, I did. And like I say now, interestingly, it was like 3 or 4 days ago, I was talking to one of my friends, a good friend of mine named Lance Erickson, who happens to be he's a professor at the University of Idaho, or at Idaho State University now. And we still stay in touch, we've been friends since we were in like 4th or 5th grade, and it's been 50 years, 40 years, whatever. And I was just telling him, I says, Lance, you know what happened during that time. If it hadn't been for you and for my friend Greg and for, oh God, I can't even name all the names. My friend Gary Orchard, my friend Monica Andrus, my friend, 10,000 friends. If it hadn't been for them, I honestly think I may have considered, I thought about it, and I probably would have taken my life. It was that bad. And those friends and their love for me and their caring and the fact that they never mentioned to me ever, they knew what was going on and they never brought it up other than to say, just Randy, know that we love you.
How beautiful. How powerful that you have those friends and that you still do. And even if you haven't seen them, that you still just recall. And what do you remember? You remember how they helped you feel.
Yeah, they rallied around me. And it's interesting you say that, bringing up the word feel. I talk more, I started a newsletter on LinkedIn, and I got up to 1,200 subscribers, something like that. And it was called The Kindness Habit. And I changed the name of it to The Kindness Experience. And the reason I did that is because every one of us, there's not a human on this planet, I don't care how hardened you are, there's not a person on this earth that does not need to have kindness experiences every day. Now, granted, not everybody does. And those people who have become hardened and stuff like that probably are surrounded by experiences where they could see kindness or could give kindness if they would, but they don't. But every one of us needs to have kindness experiences every day, because we all need to feel love. I am a big kindness advocate because of the fact that the world needs love now more than it's ever needed love. And kindness is love in action. Kindness is love's delivery agent. It's love made, love brought to life. And so that's why I work so hard to promote kindness, because heaven knows how many of us every day need to feel love. We all do. That's a basic human need. We need to feel love, and we need to give love.
Well, I love that. I'm going to quote you in your book, and part of this, I think you're quoting somebody else, but in one part, you refer to living this life as our university of adversity.
Yeah,
and
it's my partner, Ilya Gregor's quote.
Yeah, and you're quoting him, but then right after that, you say, kindness is love in action. Love is the fuel that ignites the fires of happiness, joy, and success in that order in our lives. Kindness is the vehicle that delivers love's fuel, and we are the drivers of that vehicle.
Yep.
So, and this is how you begin the book, describing that it really is this love. And so talk to me about love. What is the importance of love, and what kind of love are you referring to as being what drives this kindness that's going to change the world?
The kind of love I'm talking about is the love that lifts our hearts, lifts our souls. I'm not talking about erotic love or anything like that. I'm not talking about romance, although romance is very important. And the love that we have between husband and wives and friends and neighbors and things, that's what I'm talking about. It's the love that helps us to feel valued, appreciated, like we are important, like we make a difference. That's what I'm talking about. My definition for kindness is every behavior. Kindness embraces every behavior by which we show value and appreciation for ourselves and for others. And as we show that value and appreciation, that's what creates the feelings of love. Love is a feeling. And so all those actions create those feelings of love within us and help to create feelings of love in others. And it's those things that enable us to be able to transcend differences. It's an election year in the United States, as we well know. And of course, there's no division or no divisiveness at all when it comes to politics, right?
Right.
None whatsoever.
No, if it's a full contact sport.
Yeah, the fact that it is a full contact sport. The fact of the matter is, love is the one thing that can transcend differences. It doesn't matter if I'm a Republican or a Democrat. It doesn't matter if I'm black or white. It doesn't matter if I'm male or female or from the United States or from Japan or China or wherever. Love knows no language barriers. It knows no barriers when it comes to needs. If you notice, people who are helping to clean up, for example, after Helene or any other storm, anybody who's there who needs help isn't going to stand at the gateway to their yard and say, "Are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat? Are you such and such?" They don't care, because when the reality comes down to it, we're all members of the human race. And in my belief system, I happen to be Christian. I firmly believe in the teaching that, we are to love our neighbors as ourselves. We're supposed to love ourselves. Remember that we're unique. We have value. We can make a difference, but we also look for every opportunity we can to show love for other people. And as we do that, in my belief system, when I do that, I every time I serve somebody, I feel like I'm serving God. And that's my way. My life has been so blessed because of the knowledge I have. For myself, I firmly know that He's there. I'm not here to preach that to anybody else, but I know that God's there. I've had too many experiences in my life to deny that. And I also know that and firmly believe that He's fully aware of every one of us, that we're all brothers and sisters. And because we're brothers and sisters, we have I firmly believe that we have the obligation to do everything we can to lift and help and strengthen each other.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that conviction and belief in God. I too believe that and know that in my heart, that I feel God, and I feel God in everything that is good and in love.
Yeah.
And the more love I feel, the more I know that He exists. And so I'd love to kind of shift to, since we're talking about your book, this book goes through a 5-step guide to reaching hearts, inspiring change, and healing the world through love. So let's maybe go through those 5 steps. So we start kind of with the magic trick, which isn't really a trick, but it's kind of the result of the trick, where you refer to it as the Tada. So talk to me about Tada. Like, what does that mean?
Tada means our thoughts, our attitudes, our desires, our actions, and our habits.
Okay, so it's your acronym for all those.
Our thoughts determine our attitudes. The things we think about are going to determine the attitudes that we have towards life. And our attitudes drive our desires. You know, they are the impetus, the catalyst for our desires, the things that we desire to do, and our desires drive our actions. You know, and as we take action, those actions create habits. And when we take the time with it in relation to the formula, those 5 steps, you want me to name them off because it flows right from what we're talking about.
Yeah, name them off again, and maybe we'll put your model up here on the video if anybody's watching.
We can do that. When you've got 5 steps in this kindness formula, and every day, the first step is every day get up and think, I'm going to be a kindness giver today. I'm going to tie this into the Tada effect. So hold on for just a minute. Bear with me. You know, the first step in the formula is to get up every day and take a time to look in the mirror and think, or say to yourself, I'm going to be a kindness giver today. I'm going to look for opportunities to give kindness. And then take a few minutes to review your day. Think about who you're going to be with, where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing, and think of potential opportunities to be kind in those situations and plan some things that you will do in those situations. And I say potential because we all, you know, try to plan out our day, but nothing ever goes according to plan, or it's strictly according to plan. So, but think about what you can do given where you know you're going to be and things like that. And then go forward during the day and look for, you know, put your kindness antennas up and look for random opportunities to be kind that always present themselves. Especially, you'll be amazed as you are intentionally looking for opportunities to be kind, how many opportunities will present themselves. Look for those and then act on as many as reasonably possible. I don't say just do 1 or 2, which is great. If you can do 1 or 2, that's fine. But if you can do more, act on as many as reasonably possible. It'll be a blessing to you and a blessing to the people that you're, you know, giving kindness to. The 4th step is take the time to invite and encourage other people to do the same thing. You know, invite others to give kindness, encourage them to give kindness. And you can even, you know, you can share with them your experience with being kind. And the final step is, like we talked about earlier, is to take the time at the end of the day to reflect on your day and take just a few minutes and write down your kindness experiences and write down how they impacted you and what they inspire. You know, if you're inspired to do something or do something more, write down those thoughts and feelings. Because that's a way to, again, to have them recorded and to ingrain those experiences more in your mind and heart, and have them there so that, you know, when you have your rainy day, you can pull them out and reproduce those, what you call maybe the helper's high, the feelings of happiness and joy that come.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that, the helper's high. I had somebody on the podcast who talked about, let's see, he studied at Stanford University, I think they have a project or a center for altruistic studies or something like that. And they did this long study. And I wish I could use the right words and talk about the right parts of the brain that are affected, but I can't. Although I know that this is true. I believe that it's true because I experience it. And so you're talking about that high. Could you repeat that again?
The helper's high. So, well, and I call it the dose.
Yeah.
I refer to my friend Jacqueline Way. Jacqueline Way is another amazing lady. In fact, you should have her on this podcast, and I'll introduce her to you. But she is the queen of saying, remember your dose. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. When you do kind things, those are released into your body, and you cannot help but feel that helper's high.
Right. And how do you get your daily dose? Through those acts of kindness. So
exactly
what I heard him describe, which, you know, he learned this at this Center for Altruistic Studies at Stanford, was that when somebody receives a sincere act of kindness or generosity, they get that dose, and that happens in their brain and they feel that. But also the person giving that act feels the same. But do you want to know what's even cooler? Is somebody who is on the outside observing one person give a sincere act of kindness to another. They weren't involved in it at all, but merely observing it, they get that dose as well. And so this is why I love watching, you know, Instagram reels of, you know, kind acts that people do, and, you know, the ones that bring tears to your eyes. And I watch those with my wife or my kids, and I see those in it. I get my dose simply by watching something I wasn't even part of.
Exactly. Well, okay. So going back to the Tada effect, you think about it. If you're watching those, what are you thinking about? You're thinking about, oh, I could be kind, or wow, that was really nice. I wonder what I could do to help somebody. And how does that impact your attitude? You cannot help but have an attitude of gratitude in that moment, right? I mean and so if you think about your thoughts, your attitudes, and what do you desire? The pay it forward feeling. You desire to go out and do something. You take action, and the more that recurs, because that can become a cycle for you, the more you have a habit, and it just happens over and over and over again. And that's a beautiful thing. You use this simple formula for kindness giving. It ingrains the daily habit of intentional kindness giving. It creates the Tada effect. And not only do you have your helpers high, but you're increasing. Remember, I brought this up. Every time we act in kindness, you increase the sum of happiness in the world. And you're taking the time to decrease the negativity that's out there. So
yeah, we can multiply those high frequencies, high vibrations, high energy, and reduce the negativity, the toxicity around us.
yeah,
And does it make a difference? Yes. When you throw one stone in the pond, it creates a ripple that extends far greater than that one small stone.
Well, it does. And you think about it in that book. Remember, I talk about honeybees in there.
Yeah, tell that story. Talk about honeybees.
Yeah, well, honeybees are interesting insects. They're very interesting. They only live anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, maybe up to 8 weeks at the most. But during that time, during their lifetime, they will fly around enough and travel enough to circumnavigate the entire globe, over 23,000 miles. They visit thousands and thousands of flowers, gathering nectar. And what do they do with that nectar? They take it back to the hive so it can be made into honey. All that said, when it comes to the end of their lives, how much honey do you think one honeybee produces by itself? Not much. 1/12 of a teaspoon. And you think, my gosh, I'm one person out here. I want to be kind. But what difference is my little acts of kindness going to make? How's that going to change anything? The fact of the matter is, every single act matters, just like every single bee in the hive matters. When those bees that only produce 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey get together, one hive of bees in a year can create anywhere from 80 to 100 pounds of honey. In fact, I was just talking to a great friend of mine who has beehives yesterday, and they got 120 pounds of honey this year. All those bees working together. Think about the impact, the effect that we could have in the world if millions, and dare I say billions of people got up every day and thought, I'm going to give kindness today. I'm going to go out and make a difference. I'm going to do as my wonderful friend Barry Shore would say, I'm going to go mad. I'm going to go out and make a difference in people's lives. Think about the impact. That's the power. The power of kindness is it does impact and change lives. And the thing is, when you give kindness to people, particularly create experiences or have experiences where someone's life is really touched, that stone being cast into the pond is creating the ripples and creating what I call generational kindness. Because I can guarantee you that person is not going to keep that experience to themselves. They're going to go out and share that experience with somebody else. They're going to say, you know what, Randy Sparks did this for me. He really saw me today and he helped me, he listened to me when I needed to have someone listen to me, or he helped me carry my groceries to the car. He opened the door for me. He just sent me a text message to let me know he's thinking about me and that he cares. It could be any one of those things. And they'll share that with somebody else, and somebody will think, I could do those things. I could send a text message or do that. Ilya Gorgoras, my business partner, my friend, the creator of the University of Adversity phrase, has had a tremendous impact on me in inspiring me to remember to pay attention to the nudges. You get a feeling, you get a thought, I need to send somebody a text message. And I have become acutely more aware of those because he's really good at that. And I can't tell you the number of experiences I've had where somebody has said, how did you know? How did you know I needed that today, right when you sent that? And that's where I come back to, my religious belief. I firmly believe that God is up there watching over us, and he uses us to lift and build other people. He gives us those nudges. He sends those nudges to our thoughts, to our minds, and to our hearts. And when we listen to him and follow him, we can have a tremendous impact and be a blessing in other people's lives. And I can't tell you how many times my life has been blessed because somebody felt like they needed to send me a text, and I got it right when I needed it. There's some little nugget or inspirational quote or something else that was just what I needed right in that moment to help me to be able to either get past a moment of discouragement or to inspire me with an idea or something else. So,
Randy, you know what I can feel right now as you're telling these stories of, you get that inspiration to send that text message and creating generational effect of this kindness. I'm reflecting back on multiple instances where that has happened to me, where I've received that text of somebody just telling me thank you or expressing gratitude for something specific and just telling me why I matter to them. And I think, how much that impacted me is infinitely greater than the time it took that person to send it.
And that's a beautiful point, because you sit and think it's the little things that end up being the big things. Those small little actions end up having the big impact on people's lives. I keep thinking I keep throwing all these names out there. Another good friend of mine, a wonderful man named Elias Amash. I've never met him in person. We've talked on the phone once. But we have texted back and forth. I've lost track of the number of times. He'll send me all these amazing quotes. And a lot of them I think are just coming out of his head. The guy's amazing. He's super smart. But I can't tell you, there's been at least 3 or 4 different times when just out of the blue, I've received a quote from him and he has said something that was exactly what I needed to hear right in that moment. And I've had that happen for multiple friends. So if we pay attention to those thoughts and feelings when they come and act on them, we can have, tremendous experiences ourselves and be that small act that becomes the big thing, the big act for somebody else.
So that makes me think of something. You mentioned earlier that kindness, the connection of kindness to gratitude. Mm-hmm. And in your words, that kindness leads to gratitude.
Is the gateway
to gratitude. Thank you. And I believe that. And I believe on the flip side of that, this kind of creates this perpetual cycle where kindness is this gateway to gratitude. And I've heard someone who was actually a guest on this podcast say that his name is Chester Elton. He's awesome. Everybody check out that episode. It was great. He said that to me, that kindness takes gratitude and makes it actionable. And so that just flips it right back around. So when I receive kindness, I feel the gratitude for that. And now that gratitude, I want to take it and make it actionable by being kind.
Yeah. Yeah. But you just reminded me of another story. Do you care if I share another quick story? I was I used to travel around all over the country as an assessor for security and privacy assessments for healthcare for the HIPAA law. And I was traveling to Louisiana, and my colleague that I was with, we had just gotten there and we were going to go down to dinner. We got there, we checked in, we went to our rooms and put our stuff away. And as I was coming down the hall, I saw one of the cleaning ladies coming toward me, and I'm not a shy guy. I mean, here I am. I'm sitting in a cape with a super kind of superhero shirt on and stuff. I'm not an introvert. I'm an extrovert. But every once in a while, I have this shyness come over me, and I felt I had the nudge to say thank you to her. But this feeling of shyness just came where it's, I don't want to say anything. I'm just going to keep going. But then I said, wait a minute. I forced myself, and I don't need to be shy. I just say thank you. So I did. I said, I just want to tell you thank you for all that you guys do to make our rooms comfortable, and I really appreciate you. She teared up. She said, thank you ever so much. I've worked here for 4 years, and you are the first person that has ever said thank you to me. And I veritably floated down to the first, to the lobby after that. They said, now, what if I had not listened to that nudge? What if I had not had the courage to shove away the shyness that overcomes me every once in a while? I wouldn't have impacted her. And I was so grateful that I did, because think about how she did not forget that experience. I can guarantee you, she didn't forget that experience. First guy in 4 years that ever said thank you, and brought tears to her eyes. And I'm not sharing that to make it sound like I'm some great person or anything, or be self-aggrandizing. It's just an illustration of the importance of following those nudges and the power that those simple actions can have on people's lives.
Yeah, like you said, that simple and small, but the dose that somebody receives is just upsized.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Through small and simple things, great things are brought to pass.
There you go.
We've heard that statement.
Yep. So, but you did bring up that you felt that little moment of shyness. Okay, so I feel that. I feel like I shine and I thrive in one-on-one interactions. But the larger the group becomes, and it doesn't have to get very large, I kind of retreat and get shy, and I don't contribute, and I just listen to what's going on, right? But I feel like I do really well in one-on-one. So I do get very shy. I do have lack of confidence, and well, why me? Yeah. I can't do that. Who am I to do this? I have a lot of imposter syndrome. Who are you to do a podcast? You're nobody. I have all these thoughts all the time.
Who are you thinking that you can actually impact somebody's life or make a difference?
Exactly. Yeah. Anybody listening, you sound familiar. Okay. Like I can, everybody feels things like this all the time. Can you talk to me about when we've been talking thus far about acts of kindness externally?
Yeah.
What about being kind to ourselves?
That's a very important thing, and talking about the little voice in our heads, we have to take the time to stop and give ourselves grace. And because there's nobody on this planet, there's only one person that I know of that ever walked this planet that was perfect, and that's Jesus Christ. And that's in my belief system anyway. And none of the rest of us are perfect, and we make mistakes all the time. And we could, if we're constantly having a boxing match in our head and beating ourselves up, it's going to be really hard to make progress. And especially if we're wanting to impact other people, kindness begins with us. There's a little song that I learned when I was a little boy that they still sing in our church. It's, I want to be kind to everyone, for that is right you see. So I say to myself, remember this, kindness begins with me. And if I'm not willing to extend myself grace, which I'm going to be the first to admit, I am my own worst critic. A lot of us are. And unfortunately, there are times when each of us have experiences where we have a really hard time getting along with ourselves. We get along better with other people than we do with ourselves. But I have found in my experience over time, when I am willing to extend grace to myself and just stop and think, okay. I'm not perfect. I'm not, as good as I'd like to be, but I'm working to become as good as I'd like to be. I'm working to become better. And, at the end of the day, if we're striving to become better and become, more joyful, more happy, more kind, more uplifted, and more useful, then we can say at the end of that day, I've done okay, and I'm all right with me. Phone keeps going off. Sorry about that. And so it's very important, and it's important not only that we're kind to ourselves mentally, but also spiritually, physically, emotionally. We need to be doing what we can to take care of ourselves physically, getting enough sleep, getting exercise, eating healthy. Am I the best example of that? Heck no. I know I need to lose about 20, 25 pounds and do better at that, but I'm trying. I trying to eat healthier and do better and be better that way. But in all those aspects of our lives, we do the best we can each day and take it one day at a time. Take it one day at a time. So many of us, it's so easy to get, to get what I call navel gazing syndrome, where we're looking at what's going on out there. Maybe I should say call it tunnel syndrome, where we're looking at what's going on out there, and we're so concerned about what might happen tomorrow or the next day that we don't take the time to focus on what's happening right now. We don't take the time to stop and think, okay, what's important today? What's important that I do right now? What little piece of the elephant can I eat just right now? I don't have to eat the whole elephant today. Maybe I can eat some hairs from the tail. I mean, that doesn't sound very appetizing, but you know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm not letting you cook dinner. That's for sure.
You don't want elephant tail soup? I mean, come on. But extend ourselves grace and take things one day at a time. Don't overthink things. Don't do what I've struggled with myself. Overanalysis causes paralysis. Sometimes we overthink things and then we don't do anything. So just take things one day at a time, one step at a time. Of course we set goals and we plan ahead, but you plan ahead, but you focus on what's in front of you right now.
Well, I will say to everybody that's listening, number one, I love you. You matter. You're worth it. and you are worth receiving kindness, and you are capable of giving kindness. I'm grateful for you. You matter. Okay. So, and thank you, Randy, for sharing this with everyone, because I believe that there's so much importance. And I think it goes hand in hand that if we're going to extend kindness to anybody, we are somebody. And to be kind and extend the grace to myself. I've heard, I laugh at it, but it kind of snaps, and people can try this. I didn't invent this, but I've heard it. Anytime I hear somebody talking negative talk about themselves, you can say something to them like, "Hey, stop talking like that to my best friend."
I love that.
And then it kind of shocks them for a minute, and they under, wait, what? To kind of connect what you just said to them. Don't talk to my best friend that way. And then
exactly. Well, just remember, here's there's another reason why I wear this shirt. Shirt and cape.
The kindness superhero shirt.
Of course, I hope it's a trigger and a conversation piece to inspire other people to ask me, why are you wearing that shirt? And then I can talk about kindness. But it also serves as a reminder to me that I am a kindness superhero. I can make a difference. I can do good and lift other people up around me. So there's a double purpose in there. And you never know when someone, you have a shirt like this or a mug that has a message or whatever it might be. Someone sees that little message and they take it and they I can do that. I can be a hero too. I can go out and give kindness to somebody. And I just want to throw in there, you were talking about how somebody earlier, and I meant to bring this up earlier, but if I can just throw this in now, talking about how somebody external can be reading about or seeing an experience or, watching it on YouTube or whatever and still get that same helper's high. When you experience the kindness yourself, when you give the kindness to somebody else and see how it impacts them, when you read about that, when you listen to somebody else sharing a story or see it for yourself, and it creates those feelings, the beautiful thing is that translates to knowledge. I know kindness matters and makes a difference because I've experienced it and I have felt the impact. I have felt the love that it brings. I felt the love that my friend Rochelle Knight gave to me that day. I felt the love that all my friends extended toward me when they rallied around me when my family was going through their challenges. I felt the love that has been here during this conversation today. I am blessed and honored to be able to be with a good man named Randy Sparks and have the chance and the total wonderful opportunity to be able to have this conversation with you. I'm feeling gratitude to Gina Anderson for introducing us. And, it's those feelings that touch us right here, that paint. We can be superheroes and paint on people's hearts with kindness. Kindness is like a primer. It prepares our hearts to feel love. Well, I can feel that love right here because of the experiences I've had. And I am not shy about telling anybody, if you will go out and act in kindness, you will gain a testimony and understanding for yourself that kindness matters and that kindness works. We don't have to sit and wait for other people to do studies. Go out and do your own study. Go out and do your own experiment. Take the time today. Think of those 5 steps. Plan, say you're going to be a kindness giver. Plan out ways to do it. Look for and act on them. Invite and encourage other people to do the same. And then write them down. Write down those experiences. I can guarantee you do that for 1 week. You'll be a different person just for a week. And you'll want to do it more because you'll enjoy and appreciate the helper's high that you get. But more importantly, you will value and appreciate and enjoy the light that you will create in other people's eyes when you give them the kindness that you extend.
Well, you heard the man. There's your invitation, everybody. I am going to take that invitation and follow those steps. And I am going to be kind first to myself and then to people around me. I'm going to look for those opportunities. I'm going to invite other people to be kind. And I'm going to take note of them because I want to make a difference. And so thank you, Randy. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for doing good, for causing a ripple and changing the world, one kind act at a time.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Randy. I really appreciate the opportunity. And thank you to your audience for taking the time to listen to a 55-year-old guy running around in a red cape with a superhero shirt.
Yeah, if you weren't listening to this on YouTube, you got to switch over to that and you can see the red cape.
Yeah, there we go. Red cape. Here's the shirt.
All right, everyone. And you can check out Randy at randymcneely.com. We'll put the links in there. You can get his book. He's got this that we've been talking about, plus a few others. And
I'll put a shameless plug in for my t-shirt shop. You can go to www.kindnessheroshop.com and pick up this shirt, or there's a bunch of different other ones for men, women, and children, etc., and some great mugs too.
Awesome. Wear your shirt, change the world. Love you, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Sparks of Gratitude podcast, and we will see you next time.